Good afternoon, everybody. It's Bill from AT Makers, and I'm sorry it's been a while since I've been on. Hope you guys can hear me. If you can't, tell me. Um, Lori and I came back from Indiana with this ridiculously brutal cold. She had absolutely no voice for, I don't know, 6 days, 7 days. And while I didn't lose my voice as much, I had been coughing up a lung. And you didn't want to see me. So I do have some water. I may be cheating some water on this one. But I got enough requests on this that I thought it was important that we talk about it. We are on Facebook, and I'm watching StreamYard for both comments on Facebook and YouTube. But I just realized I am watching the comments on the charities page, not the ones in the group. So let me bring up the Facebook group as well, and that way I can see that as well. I probably will end up keeping this short because of the cough. Sorry about that. All right, so I have the comments up here as well. So if I see you on those, I'll keep an eye on it. Okay. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about a device that I made that kind of looks just like a mouse, but I made it a little bit ago, and I've been trying to make it work. And recently, I made it work, and I brought it to AOTA at the conference. Hi, John. Yes, I can see you. Hi, Chris. I really do feel fine. This is just a lingering cough that will not go the hell away. I made a device that lets you, that helps people with tremors, whether that's Parkinson's or essential tremors or Tourette's or any number of things that might cause you to have a spasm or a shake, to use their mouse more effectively. And I've wanted to do this for a long time. We've talked about it on the technical side of this, but we actually have one that works, and I now know why it works. And so I kind of want to show you what we made. I showed this at AOTA in San Antonio, and then I showed it again in Indiana at the PATINS conference. And in both cases, the response to it was, you need to get that out. I have people who need that. And so my response, my request on this one isn't, let's go make a lot of these. That's not that's not where we are on this one. My request on this is, I need to find some people who would like to actually put this through a true trial with people with Parkinson's or essential tremors or other disabilities that have to do with tremors and shakes, and actually document this well enough to be a research study of how effective it is, so that we can get this pushed out more easily. We'll talk about why I think this needs to be fast-tracked more than some of our other things. But first, let's start with just, what does this thing do? So the device, the device looks like this. And you've seen me make things like this before. It is essentially the same hardware that is in the IntelliKeys adapter. So this is the IntelliKeys. And in here, there are two microcontrollers. One reads the weird format from the IntelliKeys and sends it out as a normal USB HID signal, as both a mouse and a keyboard. So that's what this thing essentially does. This one happens to use slightly different hardware. I'll give you a kind of a better view of it here. This one uses a Trinket M0 SAMD21 microcontroller on the side that takes in the mouse, and then on the side that talks to the computer, it's actually using a RP2040 microcontroller on this side. What it does is, this side sends in normal mouse commands, sends them across to this one, which pretends to be a mouse, and sends those through to the computer after applying a filter to them. And the filter is what I've had such a hard time with recently. So But let me show you kind of what this does and why they were so excited about it. So I've changed my mouse to, all right, let's move this over. All right, this is probably the best way to show this. Ignore this over here. We'll talk about it in a minute. Um, I have made my mouse big and pink, and it's bizarre. On the on the video, it is not, it is pink, but it is not large. That's really irritating. Um, so I don't know if you can see, if you look at the baseball diamond, I'm at home plate going up to first base to second and back. On my screen, this thing is an inch large, but that doesn't pass through. Well, that's really irritating. Okay. Um, I will work on a way to actually show that better because I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this now. Let me make just a black area here so you can see this better. One second. Wow, you can hardly see that at all. All right. So let me know, Chris and John, if you can see that pink thing moving around. That's really tough because I don't know how to make it a larger cursor. It is a large cursor on my screen. It's enormous, but it's not when on the screen, on the captured screen. So let's just talk through it. And then if people don't get it or we can't make it clear, I will make a different video. Yeah, I see it barely. I know. I know how I can do this. I know how to do this. All right. Watch. We will do this on the fly. We will use Inkscape. Give me a second. It's important. I guess you could probably see that better on the white. But we'll use Inkscape because watch, I can do this. I can close all these side ones. And now I can well, it's gonna be one of those days. Oh, here. Get rid of that. I'm gonna make a circle that's nice and big, and I'll just drag it around, and then you'll be able to see the point. Okay. So when I move my mouse, okay, yeah, you guys should be able to see that okay, right? I think so. So when I move my mouse, you'll see that I'm dragging right now, right? I'm having to hold the mouse down. But if I move my mouse, it tracks where I want to go. So I want to go up and over and down. This is okay. But if I have a tremor and my hand is shaking, it goes everywhere, right? There's no rhyme or reason to it. And if I want to get this to an area where, let me see if I can, I think I can do it like this. I can do it like this. All right. So if I wanted to move this dot right here, if I wanted to move it here and up and back, right? And I had a tremor and my hand was moving like this. Whoops. It doesn't work. Okay. So if I drag this thing and my hand is shaking at all, even little shakes, it's all over the screen. Okay. Let's see. It says, Brady says, it at points it is big when you're moving the window around. Big in the window header. Try screen share instead of window share. Okay. I think this is going to show it. Let me. Do you guys think that this is going to be clear enough? Because what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to middle click this button and this little blue light up here came on. And so now when I drag this, right, and I'm tremoring my hand, it's not going all over the place, right? It's not. It's still controllable, okay? And even if I'm moving it all over the place, it's not moving all over the screen. I can get there, okay? When I make nice, clean, simple movements, it moves nice and easy. But if I'm making a nice, simple movement and my hand shakes, like if that's on the normal mode like this, if I'm making a small motion and my hand shakes, it's gone, right? I'm off the screen at that point. So, in fact, I don't know where my dot went. There it is. Sorry. Put it back. Okay. All right. So how are we doing this? How are we actually able to reduce the tremor here? It's actually really far simpler than I thought it was. So when I'm in normal mode, right, then any motion of the mouse, right, so any motion of the mouse translates directly to motion of the cursor. So if I move 5 to the right on the mouse, I'm going to move the cursor 5 to the right, or some linear multiplication of that, right? So this is normal mode, which means if I move my mouse, if I'm moving my mouse around, any small tremors are going to be, they're just going to be directly translated to the screen. What I did in this case is when I click this and that's in blue mode, what I do is I take the log of the motion. And what that means is that larger motions, right? So if I move the mouse a lot, it moves the cursor less. And by taking the log of that, by doing that simple little math function of take the log of it, right? So if I put this in blue mode and I try to drag this thing around, my big shakes here are hardly moving it. My small movements move it fine, but a tremor doesn't knock it off the screen. And when I showed this to Kelly Suding, just to kind of when I showed this to Kelly Suding, it was a big deal. She was like, "Oh, I don't get it," and then she did get it, and then I shoved her, and I gave her a good solid tap on the arm, and her eyes went wide because the mouse didn't move; it wasn't thrown off of the screen, and she goes, "This works." I'm like, "Right, this completely works." And Kelly's saying in the comments, "This is amazing. It really does remove." I didn't punch you. I did not punch you. I gave her a love tap, just a little tap. But it definitely does work. It removes that from there. I'll show you what we're actually doing as far as code goes. It's not that complicated. We basically, this transform, let me move me here. Whoops, that's not going to work. Move me over here. Sorry. All we do here is take the input horizontal and vertical motion. We multiply it by 20, and that's just to counteract the effect of taking the log of it. We do a little bit of logic so that we make sure we never try to take the log of a negative number. And we just take the log of the absolute value of the motion, and we move that instead. So what that does is it allows us to apply a filter and to remove the tremors. Now, I'll tell you, I have tried this before. This is not my first attempt at trying to get rid of tremors on a mouse. Let me see if I have comments over here. I don't know if I do, probably not. So I tried doing this first with a rolling average. In fact, if you look in the code here, you'll see that my old rolling average code is still in here, where I thought if you could average the motion over time, you would basically be able to smooth that. But it really doesn't work, because what ends up happening is you end up overshooting your target, and it really doesn't work effectively. I found two transforms that really work well, and then they even work better when you use them together. Okay, so the first is the one you just saw. So here, this is probably, let me see here. Yeah, a tiny little. All right, let's go back to the moving the dot around. Okay. So if I'm doing this, and I'm currently in the tremor, the logarithmic mode, it's removing as much as it can. The second mode, if I click again, you'll see that thing up here turned yellow. And in yellow mode, what it does is it only moves you either up and down or left and right. Not like you can't go at an angle. And what's nice about this is from a motor planning standpoint, I know that a lot of people do this. They go over and then they go up, and they have more control that way because they're placing themselves. And this just, it really does, you know, if you have a tremor, it's still tremoring, but it's only tremoring in one direction. So this is more a matter of folks who need more help with motor planning. But what's neat is the next one. If I press this button and I go into green mode, it's doing both. So now it only goes up and down or left and right. This is called orthogonal mode. And it's removing the tremors. So like you can get there. You absolutely, you know, even with tremors, you will be able to get to your end result. So these filters are something that we should be able to get to people who need it. And the way I have this made right now is worth taking a good look at. So this is a normal mouse. In fact, this is a dirt cheap ONN optical mouse from Walmart. Okay. It doesn't matter what mouse you have here. In fact, when I was practicing with Kelly, we were using this one, which is a little wireless mouse that's got the dongle in it. But what's happening here is that a regular mouse is getting plugged into an adapter that goes into this microcontroller. And then this thing is just reading a normal mouse. So any normal mouse will work as input to this. Any HID mouse, right? A USB HID mouse. This sends the information to the processor over here, which looks at what's mode, which mode it's in, and then it sends out normal mouse. Okay, so what's important about this, what's really important about this, is that nothing here is specific to an operating system or to a platform or a device. It will work with any of them. In fact, when we were testing this at Patins, I had it on a $100 Chromebook because it's what I had. And it's nice to know that the exact same logic can be applied on a Chromebook, an Android, an iPad, a Mac, a PC, an ancient machine that you still have in the library at your school, right? Whatever it is just a mouse. There's no power supply needed. There's no wireless configuration. There's no Bluetooth involved. It's just, it takes in a mouse, it sends out a mouse, and it's doing the filtering in the middle. Okay. Now, this is not the hardware I would like to use for this. This is the last generation of the hardware I'd like to use for this, but it does work. And so right now, if you have people who we're going to test with, I'll probably send them this hardware with our software on it. But this is the actual hardware that I want to use, right? So this is a simple device that I made. Rather than have the second microcontroller and the adapter, right? With this device, you can literally plug in this guy, plug in your mouse, and this would do the translation for you. This is really close to being ready. It's really close to being done. The hardware is done. In fact, we are working with Adafruit, Dan Halbert, Tak Ha from Adafruit, who does the teeny USB stack. The software for making this one work is very close. I would say the C version of that should be weeks away. The Python version of that would be a small number of months away, maybe 6 weeks away. So this is what I would prefer. What I really like about this is that this is so small. right? I don't know if you guys can tell kind of how small this is, but this is so small that there's no need for a case. You can plug these up, wrap it up in electrical tape, and this is just a smart cable on your mouse that makes your mouse work this way. So I really want to get this way. So John Jordan says, how about a wireless dongle in the USB-A port? Yeah, so that's actually, let me show you that, John. So John's asking, could you use a wireless dongle? Yes. So this is the Logitech wireless dongle. And if I plug it into our current one here, I have to reset this, and then I have to reset that. But now this is, I have to turn it on. Now this is, you can't see. So now this is moving my mouse just fine. And if I middle click, now it's got the shakes taken out of it, right? The only problem I have with this particular little mouse here is that it doesn't work on paper. So if I try to move the mouse on paper, it doesn't work at all. So I don't know what the issue here is with it, but if I put it on something shiny like this, then yes, it works fine. So there's no problem at all with putting a wireless dongle here. That works just fine. In fact, that's how I was demoing it at AOTA and PATINS, is that we would have this little mouse here, and then if you tap the middle mouse button, that's how you change between the 4 modes. So this is regular mode. So if you watch over here, that's attenuated, which is the logarithmic thing. That's the orthogonal one. So now it'll only go up and down or left and right. And then that's both. So that's both attenuated and on a grid. So yes, it does work fine with a wireless controller on it. In fact, they both will. This one will. This one will as well. But this is where we really want to get to. And the reason is twofold. So first, these two are the same chip. They're about $10. This is the RP2040 chip. And then this chip is a SAMD21 trinket. And these are hard to get because of the chip shortage. So I don't really want to depend on that. I don't want to depend on that on something that we're trying to push out to end users right now. So why do I think this is important to do right now? So this has the feeling of whoops. Wow, I just hit everything. Hold on a second. I didn't know I could do that. Neat. This has the feeling of something that would be patented and made difficult to access. So I want to document this for fair use protection, right? So for prior art protection, not fair use, for prior art. So I want to have this out there and available and open source and made so that we aren't dealing with patent troll in the near future. I can see that this is something that somebody would patent in a heartbeat as a USB filter. The other thing is there are so many other ways we could use this. For example, people who can use a controller, right? So they can use, whether it's this controller or a straight up USB gaming controller. it's in their lap, or it's modified to be able to be used. Why can't we just run that through a converter and turn it into a mouse, right? Let a mouse be a game controller, make a game controller be a mouse, make a keyboard be a mouse, whatever it is. These have always been something that we have wanted to do. Brady says mono jacks for resetting the microcontroller needed. No, not really. You can always unplug it and plug it back in if you have to, Brady. I mean, seriously, this mouse protocol is so simple that on this chip, on the single chip, where you don't have the two separate boards, this thing fires up connects to the mouse that it's managing. Once it sees that that's ready, it announces itself as being available to the USB controller. If you need to reset it, unplug it. I mean, it's just nothing to it other than that. There's no other stuff here. So I don't think you need that. If you were asking why are there holes on this one, that is to reset these. And again, the reason you have to do the resets is because there are two boards, because they can get out of sync, right? One can start up faster than the other, and things like that. So no, I don't think, if we can get to a solution that only requires one microcontroller, all of that just goes away. So I would like to be able to get these out there. I would really like it if I could get 5 different settings to test this in. So somebody with Parkinson's, somebody with an essential tremor, somebody with CP, maybe mild CP who can use a mouse, maybe somebody who uses a head mouse, and see if we can run a head mouse through it and add the ability to add the filtering to a head mouse. I'd like to get 5 scenarios here and get them. And people have to agree to be interviewed beforehand, to be interviewed afterward, and to document their work. And for that, I'll be happy to get the hardware out to people and let them work with it. All of the questions that I have here are from the Geek Gear side of the of the playground. Kelly, Mike Murata, other folks who have asked me about this. If you have questions, let me know right away. If you want a set, please just send me what the challenge you're facing is. You can keep your. I don't need to know their name. Eventually, we will probably want a media release because we'll want to document this and we will want to publicize this. Right, this is something that I think is, given the response at AOTA and PATINS, it's something that we're going to want to be able to get out there. So let me know. Let's see. A mouse sequence could be, let the MCU reset. Sure. So John's giving me ideas on how to solve the reset problem between these two boards. I'm sure I can do better. One of the problems I have with it is that this board's running Circuit Python, and so I don't really have control of the startup sequence. These are all things I'm happy to chat with the more technical people about how to make it better. To be honest, I would rather move to this when life becomes much, much simpler. The other really nice thing about this approach is that, I don't know if you noticed this, but when I showed my screen before, and I showed this code, this is the code that is actively running on the board. So if I wanted to, for example, say make a change to, I don't know, I wanted to change this scaling factor that currently is a 20, and I wanted to make it a 5 to make it slower. If I wanted to invert the horizontal and vertical because of the way they hold their mouse, anything that I want to do here is, when you plug in this mouse, a drive shows up and you can modify it and change it to fit your needs, which means it allows us to come up with a different filter that fits this particular person. For example, moving left and right is far easier than moving up and down. Okay, well, we can add that into our filter so that the up and down motion is much more sensitive than the left and right motion, particular to this user. So I really like that. I like the fact that we could pull that out. That was a big deal with the sip and puff device we made, was the ability for the end user to be able to modify it. I still owe that end user a modification, and I feel awful about it. But it is something where I think this is important and that it's helpful. So I don't see any other questions. I'm going to go look over here. I don't see any over here either. I don't think. Just the ones that I've seen. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. I'm really sorry about the mouse not showing up big on your screen. I don't understand that. I had it all set up, and I'll tell you that on my screen, it's this enormous pink cursor. We're all ready to show this. So hopefully what I showed was clear enough. Let me know what else you guys think we could use this for. For those of you who are working on devices, Ron and John and people like that, this one needs an RP2040 Cutie Pie. That's it. And those are available. So if you run out of chips and you want to work on a project, this is certainly one. The PCB boards for these, I'll be happy to get you access to them. Okay. I have a bunch of them, so I can send them out if you need them for prototyping. All right, I'll shut things down. I appreciate it, everybody. I'll see you later. Bye.